So I'd like to welcome everybody to the All District Service Recognition Awards. It's going to be a little different this year, just like the last quarter of the school year. Our buildings are still closed, but learning is still continuing throughout the year. We discovered Zoom, paper packets, hotspots, food bags, student and teacher pickup, masking, and remote learning plans. It wasn't ideal, but our district executed in every fashion along the way. I cannot be more proud of the efforts of all of you. We will be better when we come out of the other end of this, but I think the world has definitely changed. At this time, we do not know what's going to happen with the 2021 school year. Will we start with remote learning, split classrooms, alternative school days, partial weeks? Will we have fall sports and marching band? Whatever it is, I'm confident we will figure it out and get the job done. Before we get to our Service Recognition Awards program, I would like to again thank all of you for your efforts during this school year, especially the last quarter. Each year I think it can't get any better, and every year it usually does. It takes many parts working together to keep the ship running smoothly. At this time, I'd like to congratulate those employees who have just completed their first year in Monticello schools. If that is you, please stand up and give yourself a hand. We believe this is a great place to be. We are proud to be Sages. I would also like to thank those faculty and staff members that will be leaving us to move on to other challenges. If that is you, please stand up and give yourself a hand. We wish you the best and hope you take some Sage spirit with you to your new destination. And now for the presentation of the MAEF Distinguished Service Awards. The MAEF works to enhance educational opportunities for students of Monticello School District. They do this through fundraising that provides classroom grants and also provided 24 student scholarships this year. Close to $44,000 in classroom grants and scholarships were given out this year, and they also support the summer tutoring and library programs. Each year, the foundation awards individuals who have worked to enhance educational opportunities through teaching, mentoring, developing new school programs, and working as volunteers that make a difference in our students and schools. This year, a number of outstanding nominees were presented for the Distinguished Service Award. 2 have been selected for these awards. Our first selection is Jill Rooney. Jill has always worked to support others in education. Over the years, she has mentored fellow teachers, both new to teaching and new to our district. In addition, Jill has been a cooperating teacher for many student teachers in various stages of their learning. Jill is a true definition of an all-around great teacher. She has witnessed, inspired, and helped make many positive changes along the way. She started teaching kindergarten with her former kindergarten teacher, Vida Bachman, when it was only a half-day program. She will end her career teaching full-day kindergarten via remote learning. Over her 34 years, she has worked with many students, families, teachers, 6 principals, and 5 different superintendents. Jill is a great listener and an invaluable resource to the district. Her immeasurable love for education and for her students is something that is displayed the moment you step into her classroom. Her contagious smile, witty personality, and undeniable loyalty are just a few qualities that Jill encapsulates. We are so happy to have had the opportunity to work with her over the years. I know she will enjoy her free time and her family, relaxing and enjoying her garden. Congratulations to Jill Rooney. Our second DSA selection is Jean Hanley. Jean is completing her 16th year as principal at Monticello Middle School, affectionately known as the Taj Mahanley by those who know and love Jean. She is known for her off-the-cuff remarks, line-blurring sense of humor, whistle that can be heard in a 3-county radius, and her rolling cart when she speaks publicly. She takes care of the underdog with as much focus as she does the student who is guaranteed success. Ms. Hanley makes students, staff, and parents feel loved, respected, and noticed. She is willing to take the chance when others would not dare, and at the same time, provide guidance with a steady hand. Jean has brought an energy, perspective, and sense of humor that cannot be duplicated. She will be missed by all of us. Congratulations, Jean Hanley. As part of our district service recognition program, we recognize faculty and staff members that have served in the district for 1, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and 35 years. We will make sure to get your awards to you next year, but I wanted to recognize each group for their service today. The names will be announced by school. Lincoln School, 1 year. Maureen Clark, Shayla Fountain, Amber Goebel, Ariana Massey, and Anthony Worth. 5 years, Amy Broyles, Lindsay Coleman, and Celine Shiley. 10 years, Janice Donaldson. 15 years, Lynn Brune, Marissa Lamb, and Mary Vogt. For White Heath School, 1 year, Amy Lee, Christopher Lewis, Hannah Murray, Brittany Ryan, and Julie White. 5 years, Miranda Klink, Brianna LaPlante, and Brittany Plunk. 10 years, Brittany Ransom. For 15 years, Jeremy Benson, and for 20 years, Christy Whitney. For Washington School, 1 year, Nick Bailey, Rachel Caldwell, Kathy DeFries, Dustin Detweiler, Teresa Jones, Megan Parsons, Kristen Perrine, Donette Plock, and Rich Wilson. 15 years, Jana McGiles and Diana Meyer. 20 years, Kristen Boland, and 35 years, Lois Doherty. At the middle school, for 1 year, Gina Allen, Steve Kirk, Elizabeth Mosky, Joe Strader, and Jen Trainer. 5 years, Brian Hartman, Mickey Winskill Henrard, and Cody Tiedemann. For 15 years, Alice Barnhart and Amy Wolf. 20 years, Catherine Sokolowski, and 25 years, Denise Troster. At the high school, for 1 year, Nicole Chambers, Lisa Shepard, and Nick Stokowski. For 5 years, Erica Bowman, Casey Crowhurst, Megan Howard, and Andrew Webb. 15 years, Shelley Berry, Annie Camacho, Marlise Dahl, Chris Jones, Amy Malone, Laura McCleary, and Andy Moore. And for 20 years, Doug Kunde and Vicki Poor. Congratulations. And now for our retirees. Congratulations to each one of you on a fine career. Working in schools is a unique career since we all attended school growing up. Whether it's a teacher, a custodian, a bus driver, a librarian, a principal, or a school secretary, most of us have great memories. I can remember seeing my elementary school custodian, Mr. Thaumann, when I was throwing a fit with my mom at the grocery store. I straightened up real quick because I didn't want to disappoint him. Working in a school gives you stories to talk about forever. It gives you great memories of crazy stuff that students have done and good times with colleagues. It is my hope that you only have great memories of your time as a sage. Once a sage, always a sage. Every year, we honor our retirees at this ceremony. This year, we have a retiree class of 9, including Diana Koontz, 19 years, started working as a part-time special ed aide for kindergarten at White Heath, then worked as a small wonders aide at White Heath. She started working as a media aide in 2005, and she's also worked as a playground and lunchroom supervisor. Kyle Ness, 32 years, high school math teacher, PE teacher, math team sponsor, freshman class sponsor, track coach, assistant football coach, and baseball coach. Elaine Phelps, 20 years. She worked as a social worker at all 5 schools: Lincoln, White Heath, Washington, the middle school, and the high school. Jill Rooney, 32 years, 33 years. Taught kindergarten at Lincoln School. Started in 1987. Worked with 5 superintendents and 6 principals. Susan Shiley, 23 years. Started working as a part-time secretary at Lincoln School in 1997. Started as a full-time secretary in 2000. She's worked with 5 different secretaries while at Lincoln School. Christy Summers, 14 years. Worked in the unit office in accounts payable and receivables since 2006. Deb Rear, 31 years. She's worked as a cook at Lincoln School starting in 1989. Then she went to the high school in 1994, Washington in 1999, and then the middle school in 2003. She started work as head cook at the middle school in 2005. Renee Dalton, 26 years. Worked as a cook at Washington School in 1994, then went to Whiteheath as a cook in 2000. She became the head cook at Whiteheath in January of 2014. And Jean Hanley, 26 years. She started in 1994, worked 10 years as a high school guidance counselor, and 16 years as middle school principal, starting in 2004. She also coached girls basketball and softball. I've asked our principals to say a few words on each of our retirees' behalf. Congratulations to all of our retirees.
It is with great pleasure that I get to say a few words about Jill Rooney. Jill began her career as a student in Monticello. Upon graduation from MHS, she attended Illinois State University and double majored in early childhood and elementary education. After completing 1 year of teaching Title I reading and special education in Wapella, she began teaching at Lincoln School. She initially taught pre-K, developmental kindergarten, and not long after she began teaching a half day of pre-K and a half day of state-funded at-risk. Miss B, which she was known as then, decided to name the at-risk class Small Wonders, a name which is still used today for all of our preschool classes. After several years of teaching preschool, she transferred to kindergarten, where she has been ever since. Jill's classroom has been an inviting space for parents, families, and community members. She has taught countless students. Jill has a gift for working with the youngest students and differentiating her resources and instruction to meet every child's needs. Jill has continued to learn and grow through the years as a teacher. Even though this year did not go as she had planned, she adapted her teaching style to learn something completely new in the last quarter of her career. Jill took remote learning as an opportunity to share her love of gardening with her class. She and the class turtle Frank took a garden walk via Zoom. She posted pictures using Seesaw and her class Facebook page, and as a result, her students were able to witness Mrs. Rooney's garden growing, and her co-workers witnessed a teacher of 34 years learn to teach kindergarten in a completely new way. The end of the 2019-2020 school year will be Jill's 34th year of teaching, of which 33 were at Lincoln School. She likes to say she has been going to Monticello schools for 46 years now. Jill Bialeski Rooney is a true sage. Jill has always made it a point, no matter what, to tell her students that she loves them. Now it's our turn. Mrs. Rooney, we thank you and we love you too.
Hi, I'd like to say a few words about Renee Dalton. Renee started out in the district at Washington School back in 1994 and then transferred to Whiteheath in 2000 and became our head cook in 2014. Renee runs an absolutely spotless kitchen. Everything is always in its place and everything runs very efficiently. I really don't know how she does it, but I wish that she would come to my house and teach me how to do the same in my kitchen for only 5 people, not 230. But what Renee is really most known for around here is how kind she is. She makes you feel welcome from the second you walk into the kitchen. Even if you're asking her to do something for you at the last minute, you forgot to order your lunch, you need a cookie cake cut into 24 equal pieces, which is really, really hard. You need something warmed up for a potluck, you need measuring cups for a class activity. Whatever it might be, Renee is always there to help, and she always does it with a smile, even if it's an inconvenience for her. So we really appreciate your kindness over the years, taking care of us. feeding us way too much, and of course running the survivor pool. So we'll find out tonight who wins the money in the White Heath survivor pool. I'm hoping Denise or Wendell can pull it off. Renee, we hope that you have a great retirement, that you get to spend a lot of time with your grandbabies and go camping and really enjoy the time with your family. Thank you so much for everything you did for all of us at White Heath. We'll miss you.
Hi, Deb.
Hi, Deb.
Just let me say that you are a lucky young lady that this is being videotaped and not live, because this would have been my last speech I would ever give in front of the Monticello Community Unit School District staff, and you know how I am. Deb Rear, I've known her as a parent, as an employee. It's hard to put into words what she's meant to me and what she's meant to this district over the past 20-some years. Ms. Troster, do you have anything to say?
I just want to wish you well in your retirement. I know how hard this is going to be, but it's also going to allow you to have extra time with the grandkids and probably working at the flower shop. But I just want to thank you for everything that you've done for me and being there for me. We've both been through some really tough times, and it's been nice to have your support, and I appreciate that, and I'm going to miss you like crazy.
I asked the teachers if they had any little tidbits to share, and everything that I got identified how much you cared about them as a person, that you weren't just a cook in the building, that you made sure that you asked about how they were doing and sent thoughts and prayers their way when they needed it. And I know one of the biggest things, the greatest things you've done in the kitchen has been to care about the food that you're putting out for the kids and making sure that they don't go away hungry. And that's a testament to you. So thanks for everything you've done. You'll forever be in my heart, and we're not moving, so hey, we'll see you around. Congratulations, Deb.
Congratulations, Deb.
Hello. I'm excited to give a retirement speech for my friend Jean Hanley. You might also know her as Jean, Jeannie, Janine, Aunt Jean, Miss Hanley, or Coach Hanley. And if you've been around her at all, you probably know a little bit about her life story, but I'll go ahead and hit the highlights for you. Jean attended high school at Thomas Jefferson High School in Virginia, which is the number one high school in the nation. But it was not the number one high school when Jean attended there. After that, she went to Eastern Illinois University, which she lovingly refers to as the Harvard of the Midwest. While she was there, she was actually crowned queen several times. Apparently, it was by her group of friends. I don't know. You'll have to ask Miss Troster about that one. What she's really best known for at Eastern is her dramatic interpretation of a grape turning into a raisin, which she had to do for a dance class that was required for her PE major. I'm really, really hoping that there is video out there somewhere of that dance and that it comes out so we can all enjoy it someday. After Eastern, Jean started her career, and by 1994, she was at Monticello High School as a guidance counselor and a basketball and softball coach. And I was lucky enough to be one of her student athletes at the time, so I reached out to some old friends to see if they had memories to share of Jean as a guidance counselor and a coach. One player remembered that we were in basketball practice one day, and Coach Hall was teaching us a play, and she was very serious and somewhat stern as she was teaching us. And the whole time, Jean stood behind her and made faces at us and then danced around to try to get us to laugh so that we would get in trouble. That was a very typical thing for Jean to do. Another player remembered that she was really nervous in the cage room before a big game, and the team was in there playing some music, and Jean came in and started dancing around to break the tension. And then she put her hand on the player's shoulder and said, "You're nervous because you care, and that's okay." And this player said that she still remembers that advice to this day, and she still uses it with her clients. I think everybody that I talked to mentioned how much they liked playing for Coach Hanley, how much fun we had, and I completely agree. Jean, you were always very encouraging. You were fun, enthusiastic, and you built our confidence, never tore us down. So we all had a blast playing for you, and I thank you for that very much. Jean did such a good job at the high school that they actually built her own school called the Taj Hanley. It's otherwise known as Monticello Middle School, where she's been principal for the last 16 years. And under her leadership, it has become a middle school to watch. She perfected the art of the whistle that can be heard around the world, and the art of playing the cowbell, where she learned that you always need more cowbell. Jean is also known at the middle school for giving speeches on her podium on wheels, for driving her motorized scooter around, for always having a cinnamon disc in her pocket and being willing to share. She says never turn down a breath mint. The funny thing is that everybody that I talked to who has worked at the middle school with Jean recently, even her students, they all mention the same thing. They said that when she does the morning announcements and she reads the menu, she says, "A hamburger on our friend the bun." And it's so popular that a student wrote an essay about it last year. Mrs. Smith's homeroom has a status that they would keep every day on whether or not the bun was our friend on that particular day. That's a perfect example of Jean having jokes that everybody knows, always keeping things funny and keeping a sense of humor. That's what we'll probably miss about you most, Jean. So we hope that you have a great retirement, that you get to play a lot of golf, spend time with your friends and family, hopefully watch the Cardinals again someday. Of course, spoil Kramer. You always said at the end of your board reports that you had the greatest job in the world, and we thank you for doing it. And remember, make it a great retirement or not, the choice is yours.
Elaine Phelps has worked in the Monticello School District for 20 years. When she started, she was the social worker in the district, serving K through 12 students. Elaine has most recently shared her time between Lincoln and Whiteheath schools. She's often seen with her puppet friends, Billy, Lily, and Puppy, on her way to teach class lessons. Elaine is a source of lessons for staff members in the district as well. Several years ago, there was a kindergarten student at Whiteheath School who was having a hard time separating from his parents. He cried and cried and cried and cried. The teacher tried to console him, distract him, anything to help him stop crying. Elaine took the little guy to her room and gave him a safe place to work through his emotions. She looked at me and simply stated, "He can't cry all day. We'll just wait until he's ready." I have remembered that each year when we have had students crying, and it has given me the mindset that sometimes you just need to wait and not try to make something happen before it's time. There was another instance with a preschool student at Lincoln who was also having difficulty separating and was inconsolable. Elaine and I went to help with that student so that the teacher was able to continue working with the rest of the class. After a few questions with no response from the student, Elaine asked if he had a dog at home. The student's demeanor instantly changed. He opened up about his dog, forgetting why he was crying, and was able to rejoin the class. Ever since that day, I have kept an abundance of pictures and videos of my dog on my phone in case a child does not have a pet of his or her own to talk about. This is just one of the many strategies Elaine has taught us to use to help a student who is struggling. Elaine, you will be greatly missed as you enjoy your retirement. Thank you for all you have done for the students, parents, and staff in the Monticello School District.
Hi guys, Adam Clapp here, principal at Monticello High School, and I'm just going to say a few words about Mr. Ness. Mr. Ness has been a fixture at MHS for the last 32 years, and during his time here, he has been a mentor to many students as well as staff members. His impact at Monticello High School is going to be truly missed, but we're extremely happy to have him coming back next year to work in the district as a part-time math teacher. Now, for anybody who doesn't know Mr. Ness, there's times where there's some noise or some commotion coming from his room that puts a little fear in the mind of an administrator. For example, in my first year as a principal, at Monticello High School. I was walking the hallways during first period, and when I turned the corner, I could hear a lot of yelling and commotion. So I kind of picked up the pace and started walking towards Mr. Ness's room where the noise was coming from. As I walked in the door, every desk was perfectly lined up. Every student had books out, pencils ready. And I walked in, and Mr. Ness said, "Hey, Mr. Clapp, do you need something?" And I said, "No, just checking to make sure everything's okay in here." And he replied with, "We're just all really excited about asymptotes." And the class started laughing. We all had a good laugh. But each time I heard something from Mr. Ness's room from now on, I just knew that was Mr. Ness being Mr. Ness. Fast forward to last fall, we started construction, and I had 2 construction guys flag me down, kind of panicked, and said I needed to go immediately to a classroom in the main hallway. I went to the front of the building, went up there. As I turned the corner, I heard it was Mr. Ness, and I looked at the 2 guys and said, "Hey, this is him. He's high energy all the time. He's just really excited about math." And the guys had a good laugh about that. But as I talked to some former students and his colleagues over the last couple weeks, come to find out that's how Mr. Ness has always been. These students shared a few funny stories with me that I'll share with you, but I'll only share a few because I will still be working with Mr. Ness next school year. One student said that they remember a day when Mr. Ness decided that he would jump up on the chalkboard tray, and he jumped up there and stuck the landing, and the school talked about it for days. There was another time where Mr. Ness came to school wearing 2 different colored shoes on the same day. Same shoe, different color, but he did that because he didn't want to wake his wife up when turning on the light. So he's always got a heart for people. And possibly this student's favorite memory was Mr. Ness taking her calculus class out to see if they could all fit in his van. There were 19 students that day, and they did it. And supposedly there's pictures out there that can prove that it happened. And I'm sure it was a vital part of the lesson that day. Why do his students remember all these crazy stories about Mr. Ness? It's because he made math fun. He not only makes math fun and enjoyable for everyone, he makes it easy to understand. One of his former students and now a colleague said, "Mr. Ness is one of the main reasons I became a math teacher. I wanted to be a math teacher that students liked, a math teacher students looked up to, and a math teacher that students cheered when they saw the name on their schedule. I wanted to be a Mr. Ness." I could go on and on about what everyone else has to say about Mr. Ness, but I wanted to share with you what I admire most about Mr. Ness. Over the last 3 years, I've watched Mr. Ness coach and teach his daughter, and the relationship between Kyle and Amelia is one of a kind. I hope that when my daughters are in high school, they look at me the same way Amelia looks at Kyle. Sometimes with a smile, and sometimes with, "What the heck are you doing, Dad?" But always with the love of a daughter that she has for her dad. I'm excited for you and your family as you start your retirement, but I'm also excited for our students who will still get to experience your classroom next school year. Thanks for all that you did, Kyle. Looking forward to seeing you soon.
I was given a very specific request from Susan Shiley to say the following words about her. She showed up, she did her job, she loved every minute of it. And thank you, Susan. Now that I've granted her request, I'll share my thoughts about Susan Shiley. She started as a substitute teacher for 5 years. She was a parent volunteer and has now served as a full-time employee of the Monticello School District for 23 years. My experience working with Susan has been over the last 12 years, where I have had the opportunity to observe her in action with students, staff, and parents on a daily basis in the Lincoln School office. Oftentimes, Mrs. Shiley is called upon to be a nurse, caretaker, and counselor, along with her daily job responsibilities. She handles each situation with the best interest of our school as her top priority. She makes sure that the people she is working with know that she cares about them. Mrs. Shiley uses her experience to benefit those around her so that the daily operations at Lincoln School run smoothly. Through the years, she has worked countless hours organizing school registrations, being present at evening functions at the school, and attending parent-teacher conference nights to assist with answering questions. She is always willing to go the extra mile for the good of the school and the district without complaint. I'll never forget the span of 4 months in 2015 when Susan suffered a heart attack at the end of the school year and then a broken leg at the start of the next school year. She was determined to be at her job so as not to let the students, parents, and staff down with her absence. Thank you for sharing your love of your family, baking, crafting, animals, and nature with us, Susan. We will miss you and appreciate knowing that you're just a phone call away.
Christy Summers. Christy's been an asset to the school district since she joined in 2006. Just as she was learning how the district office worked, she was faced with a superintendent transition. I can recall one of my first days on the job in Monticello when she asked if she was going to have to dictate my letters. I said no. I didn't know that was still being done. Christy has been very patient as we have sold and resold bonds, bought our own bonds, passed a referendum with more bonds, and now we are using an investment strategy to maximize our earned interest for the district. In the middle of all this, we switched financial software from STI to Skyward, and then brought Aramark on board to run our food service. Christy's learned a lot over the years. She's been very patient, but I know that she is ready to retire. We wish her all the best and hope that she is able to get some salt life. Good luck, Christy.
Hi, I'd like to say a few words about Diana Koontz. Mrs. Koontz has worked in the Monticello School District for 19 years. All of those years have been at White Heath School. She worked as a TA in kindergarten and then in Small Wonders, and finally she became the media aide in our library. Mrs. Koontz also worked as the playground supervisor and lunchroom supervisor in the time that I've been at White Heath with her. Mrs. Koontz is one of those employees that every principal loves. She does exactly what needs to be done. She doesn't need a lot of guidance. She does it with a smile on her face, and she doesn't complain. She gets along with everyone. Everyone loves her. And I never ever had to worry when Diana was supervising. I knew that everything would be taken care of. Very rarely did she have a discipline situation that she needed to bring to me. She just handled things very well, and I always appreciated that about her. Diana was one of those backbones of our staff that you could always rely on to be here and to get the job done and to do it right. So Diana, I hope you've been enjoying your retirement and spending a lot of time with your new grandbaby. We thank you so much for all your years of service here at White Heath. We miss you, and we hope you have a very happy retirement.
As we look forward to the summer and what it holds for us, I hope that you will take some time to reflect on the 2019-20 school year. It was like no other year that any of us have ever had. And to you rookies, it's not always like this. For some of us in this room, it was the start of a career in education, and for others, it marks the last year in what has hopefully been a labor of love. For most of us, it's another year in the books, another class of students that we've had the opportunity to help grow and learn, and another lesson plan book to put on the shelf. For all of us, it's been a year of change, some for the good, and for others, quite challenging. The Monticello School family is made up of 240 individuals who have school lives and personal lives. Some are public and some are private. We care about each other. We celebrate the good times, and we are there to support each other during the difficult times. We can all be thankful for each other. While none of us is perfect, we can all be almost perfect. Remember, almost perfect is an attitude. Sometimes we are dealt great hands, and sometimes our hands are not so good. We cannot allow our lives to be determined by the hands we are dealt. It is how we choose to play our hands that makes the difference. And yes, we do get to choose how we play our hands. A positive attitude can take us very far in life. A positive attitude can be a spark that creates extraordinary results. Life brings us joys and challenges, but we get to choose our attitudes. As we look forward to next year, we will continue to see physical building changes all around us. Virtually every elementary classroom teacher will be in a different room when all is said and done. We will see both new and remodeled classrooms that are all air conditioned. Many other spaces will see remodeling as well. Our construction plan will go through the summer of 2021. Building additions will be complete and ready to use at the start of the coming school year. Remodeling of the high school in Washington are the major focus this summer and next school year. We will continue to face challenges, disruptions, and classroom moves, and we appreciate your patience and flexibility along the way. We are excited to make this happen, and we'll be happy when it's complete. Life comes at us very fast. You ever wonder how it can be that you hear the same song over and over in your car, but suddenly that one time you actually hear the words that you have never listened to before? Life can be short. Listen to the words, don't just hear the music. Enjoy the view, don't just look out the window. Laugh daily and smile, don't be so serious. Hug your wife or husband, don't just say goodbye. Sit down and actually eat dinner with your family. Don't just make the food. How about saying thanks when you go through the fast food drive-through line? And don't forget to pet your dog every day. On behalf of the Board of Education, I would like to thank you for all that you do and for taking the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of our students every day. There's no other place that I would rather be. I hope you feel the same way every day. Congratulations to our retirees and best of luck to you in retirement. Once again, I appreciate what you do and I hope you enjoy your summer. And always remember, it's a great day to be a Sage.